You receive a call at 5 p.m. For a last minute additional coverage at one of your clients, right? So time is of the essence. And with TrackTik, it's really easy to both schedule in that additional time and then find the appropriate resources to fill the shift. So I'm looking here at my live schedule in TrackTik. So these are all of my different shifts I have across all my different sites. And really, it's pretty straightforward. I would just go to my site that needs the additional coverage. I click on this little plus sign here. That's going to open up a window which allows me to create new shifts. So I would just input the details as per the coverage that the client requested. I can even create more than one shift. So I can create multiple shifts at once if I need to. So let's say I want to create 2 new shifts. I want to have it be 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., let's say. And then after I fill that in, I click save. And immediately those 2 new shifts, they've been plopped onto the schedule. Then in terms of populating those shifts with the resources that are going to work them, it's also a really easy, straightforward process. By using TrackTik's replace feature, I can actually use different criterias to basically provide me with a short list of people that are best suited to work that post that I'm trying to fill. So depending on the different criteria that I have selected here, it's going to give me a list of appropriate employees. And then what I can do is I can use TrackTik's offer by SMS functionality. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the system to automatically send an SMS or a text message to those individuals to let them know that there's a shift on offer. If they respond back to that text message, say, yes, I want to take it, the system will automatically put them into that shift. You as the administrator, you don't have to go out calling different people and figuring out who can work it. You can just leverage these features and take care of that scenario in just a few minutes. In TrackTik, as Tony mentioned, your staff are doing all of their daily activities, all of their reports in a single system, single source of truth. And where that shows in TrackTik is what we call our analytics features. So what I have here on the screen is what we call our incident analytics dashboard. And this is being populated in real time by all of the different incidents and activities that are being recorded across the system. You can filter it in on a particular account. You have a bunch of different filters and criteria that you can use. If I want to focus on a particular date range, for example, I can do that. And based on the different criterias that I input in here, the dashboard's going to update. So it allows me to slice and dice the data and really kind of understand what's happening at my different sites. So I just updated the status here, or the filter here, to be my incident versus day of the week. And if I take a look right here, I can see, for example, that Thursdays, I seem to have a spike in incidents. Whereas if I look at, say, Monday or Wednesday, those days don't have as many incidents reported. So this is actually actionable, insightful data that I can use to make operational or staffing decisions. So like Tony mentioned, maybe this would be something that I can use in a conversation with my client, that I need to add an additional shift on Thursdays, maybe on Tuesday. Maybe I can reduce the number of tours that I'm completing on Mondays because it's not as incident heavy. So I'm using the data that's being generated within TrackTik to produce those actionable insights and takeaways that I can use to impact and optimize my operations. So right now I'm looking at the time approval page in TrackTik, because like what Tony mentioned, people are, they're clocking in, they're clocking out of the app, completing their shifts. That's going to translate into timesheet entries, which is what you're seeing here on the page. So this allows the administrator, supervisory team, they can review all of those timesheet entries, make sure everything is recorded as per the reality. So it's going to give you information based your scheduled times versus your actual clock times. I can see information related to my pay as well as my bill rates. It'll let me know if I have any holiday hours or overtime. But ultimately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review these time entries and approve that time. And as soon as I approve that time, it's then going to flow automatically into the pay run as well as the invoicing or billing pieces of TrackTik. So to show you what that looks like, I'm going to go into my billing module. And basically with TrackTik, you're able to streamline the process of generating your invoices. So you can actually create batches of invoices, which based off of, different criterias, period start, period end, etc. It'll take all of those timesheet entries that occur within that period and bundle them up into a batch. And just with a few clicks, you're able to generate the invoices within that batch. So if I go over here, this is showing all of those 42 invoices that I created in that batch. I didn't have to create each invoice individually. The system is just gathering all that information that was approved upstream and producing my final invoice. And why don't we open one up here and just take a quick peek at what that looks like. So it's going to generate invoices for each of my clients. It's going to correctly report, the period, the different bill items that I've set up for that client for the services that I'm offering, and then accurately report the totals, the quantity of those bill items, the line items, and you can even configure it to have a full breakdown, so your clients can have a real granular view of the specific timesheet entries that are contributing to that invoice. So again, big time save. The system is automatically generating a lot of that. It just needs to flow through those approval steps, and you're good to go. All right. So like Tony mentioned, clients they're expecting up to the minute, accurate information, and they want it as soon as possible. So TrackTik does have a couple different solutions or features that you can use to help meet that goal. So the first one I'll mention is what we call our client portal access. So what this allows you to do in TrackTik is you are able to create user accounts for your clients, and they're able to log into the portal in order to see information specific to their site that their account is created under. So in my screen here, I've set up a user, Sam Downs. When he logs into the TrackTik portal, he's only going to have access to information related to his site, Costco Wholesale. And I can actually tailor this user access. I can set up as many different users as I want, and I can assign them to, totally customizable permission and role groups. If I want to define specific pieces of information that they do or do not have access to see. So that's one way that you can offload a lot of having to send information to your clients. Just give them access to their own dedicated portal and let them check it whenever they want to. That can also be an additional revenue stream for you. Client portal access is a core feature. It's included in all of our TrackTik solutions, and it's free to use and share with your clients. So it's something to consider. The second feature that I'll show you that Tony mentioned was our automated notifications in TrackTik. So as reports and different activities are being completed within TrackTik, it's automatically generating reports, different summary reports. So what you can do is you can actually set up notification rules to receive either an email or an SMS alert outside of the system. The system will automatically send that out to you when certain reports or conditions are met. So I have up here on the screen my individual reports. Maybe I have a client that wants to receive a notification every time one of my staff creates a maintenance report, for example. You can set that up, define the email or the phone number that notification needs to go to. And then every time a maintenance report gets generated in TrackTik, the system will automatically push that information out to the recipient that you've specified. And that can also be configured for your summary reports, daily shift reports. You can have it set up to receive a weekly report that, gives them all the information for the activities that were occurring during that week at their site. So a couple different options that you can use to really help alleviate having to get information from point A to point B with your clients. Like I said, there's a few different places that overtime is going to show up in TrackTik. So if I'm looking here at my live schedule, which we saw earlier, I can easily focus on the shifts that have overtime accruing just by clicking the has overtime filter here. So I click that, the schedule is going to update and only show me those shifts that have overtime as part of them. That's one way that you can look at it. But maybe you want to see it like at the time approval stage, for example. So when you open up the time approval, you're going to have information here that will let you know if a shift had overtime or not. So if I open up the actual shift, it gives you the breakdown of all of the hours that are part of that shift. And this is also where you're going to be able to see if that shift had overtime as part of it or not. Then the last part would be, I would say, after the approval stage. So for instance, when you're running payroll, if I open up one of my payroll runs here, I can see right up at the top on the summary the number of overtime hours right here. And then down here, if I look further down into the summary, it'll actually give me a breakdown by employee. So any employee that would generate overtime hours, those hours would be noted in the overtime column here. So depending on where in that process you are, there's multiple areas within the system that will give you that information. Okay, so I'm going to go to one of my sites. I'm going to open up the schedules. Because typically when you're creating your schedules, posting new schedules, you're going to be doing it at the site level, right? So wait for that to load. Sorry, my internet's a little bit sluggish.
We might need to add the Jeopardy music for this right now.
Yeah, right.
I think so.
What I wanted to show you, and I'm hoping there we go. There we go. So when you're designing the schedule, right? So this is the screen that you're going to be using to build your schedules and adjust them week over week. Whereas what I showed you in my demonstration was more for those on the fly, kind of last minute scenarios. But when you're building out the schedules here, this is also where you're able to see like availability and how much time employees have already worked and whatnot. So if I go to, for example, if I select this vacant shift right here on Sunday the 31st, I highlight that, and the system is going to basically provide me, similar to what we saw in the shift replacement, it's going to provide me with a list of users that are best suited to work that shift. So it'll take into consideration their total hours, so their current availability. It'll also filter out like if there's any requirements that the employee needs to have in order to work that shift. So as you can see here, I have a breakdown of different users. It's showing me what their so how many hours they currently have on the schedule, how much their current earnings are. And then I don't think it has any hidden employees yet, but I would be able to see that here. So it would let me know anyone that was excluded because maybe they are currently at overtime, for example, or they're not available to work for the day that I'm looking to fill the shift for, whatever. There's multiple different scenarios that would cause somebody to be excluded, but this would be the other part of the system where you'd be able to see that information.